The internet that the Gideon keys grew out of was one that was fundamentally more optimistic and less corporate than the one we find ourselves in. This was before the rise of big social media, before the rise of really big data even.
One of the entries was called The Pen, and it involved an act of magical sympathy. You break a couple of pens and smear the ink on your hands, and you would walk through the city aimlessly, waiting until some opportunity presented itself for you to have a pen put in your hand. This pen could only write truth. Whenever you tried to write a lie with it, it would run out of ink. To me, that is like sort of the epitome of what these stories are. The spring of 2017. I was living in California at the time, having had these ideas and stories rattling around in my head for, the better part of 8 years. I made the trip up to Calgary, and being there was surreal, and I felt nervous and excited because I didn't know what I was going to find.
There's an abattoir in the city that is disguised as something else. From the outside, it looks like a print shop about a block from the Mountain Equipment Co-op. Fill your pockets with salt, any kind, and wander aimlessly until the buildings begin to grow newer, and buildings that have long since been demolished join the skyline.
I would definitely call the Gideon keys a magical work. I guess you could call it a piece of magical fiction that is left in the corners, the drawers of the world around us, these liminal spaces.
One theory that I have is that they are psychic detritus. They are ideas and notions that are thrown out from one's dreams or from the collective unconscious. I was blown away just by how real they felt and seemed. With any legend like this, one almost feels like there has to be some core of truth to each of the stories.
There's something just at the corner of your eye, just beyond your vision, just beyond your reach, and you are so close. And these are a stepping stone. They give you just little bits of the picture to understand so much more. There is a very careful use of symbolism, of references to mythologies, to the history of the city, and it is designed to change how you're looking at the city of Calgary.
shadows and reflections of our city, the sprawl, the traffic, the crime, the violence. Dream Calgary is where the city's denizens go when they sleep. The dead live here, and they're hungry. Mirror Calgary is where your reflection lives.
There was a mundanity to Calgary, a sort of tired modernity. I saw it very much as a city of corporations, of oil. I didn't really see it as a vibrant civic center. I didn't really see it as a place that had its own voice. I thought of it as a place I could not wait to leave. The Keys were the start of seeing more behind those closed doors.
Suddenly those areas have life breathed into them. Suddenly that could be the place that a key is located. You know, these random municipal buildings have a new glow to them that they never did before.
Places are in many ways like people. Like people, they can leave ghosts. Like people, they have personalities. And like people, they can die. Rarely do dead places persist. Mostly they shrivel up and blow away like leaves on the wind, or get demolished to make way for something new.
I think when a place disappears, the magic that was in it can linger there for a time. If there's, a skeletal building that can remind people of things, an empty lot, or perhaps the people who interacted with it, who gave it its feeling, who knew about it and knew its history. As long as they're around and telling it, there's still some of that. But the nature of magic is that it's change, it's transformational. And so, by necessity, it has to return to whence it came so it can become something else. It's hard to say where that magic might come from. You could say it comes from the spirit of the city that we all sort of commune with as we make our day-to-day lives, and that eventually another place will come up with a similar energy and people will tell stories about that.
There's a secret magic to all places, and I think the Keys task us to be really reflective on that thought and to look more closely at the places that we're in. The observer is not separate from the observed. Everything is connected throughout sort of the presence of awareness. So a place, it develops a life of its own through the energy of the people that are there to witness it. so much of the collective imagining has codified what it means to be human. And I feel like the keys capture some of that energy. I think that in a way they're an attempt to create an enduring myth. And we have no idea, ultimately what the intention was. But we know that the effect that it's had is to create this international following of people who are invested in these stories. And I think that that's a really beautiful thing.